Well, the cold winter months can be a barrier to getting outside and enjoying nature. Now, combine that with the isolation brought on by the pandemic, and we could all use a change of scenery. This week, state recreation leaders are inviting residents to get outside and mask up with winter face masks.
Mask up, mask out Minnesota is a reminder to enjoy the great outdoors. Get out of your four walls, get into the parks and trails that we're blessed to have throughout the state of Minnesota, and continue enjoying the seasons. Winter being one of the big ones for us, and no reason not to enjoy it.
Why do you think it's so important for folks to get out, especially during the pandemic? A lot of times people are inside during the winter, and this year is no different.
Well, just think about what a lovely year we've had, though. I mean, if we had to have a pandemic that forced us to do things differently, at least here in Duluth, we had a lovely summer and slid right into what's been a beautiful, just gorgeous winter. The temperatures have been pretty phenomenal. So, Greater Minnesota Regional Parks and Trails Commission is representative of the 80 counties in Greater Minnesota and the parks and trail systems within that. We saw incredible user numbers this summer. As you can imagine, people wanting to escape their four walls then made great use of parks and trails throughout the state, and really a lot of new users who weren't aware of what was in their back door. So this is just a reminder that just because it's winter and it's a little bit colder, there are still plenty of wonderful parks and trails to explore, and a good way to leave those four walls, continue communing with your family and friends. Bundle up, mask out, have some fun. And there's a lot of great places to explore.
Now, tell us a little bit more about the Greater Minnesota Regional Trails and Parks Commission. That's a relatively new organization that people may not know a lot about.
It is relatively new. So in 2008, Minnesotans took the wise and bold measure to tax themselves 0.5% of additional sales tax. That tax went into 4 funds. So among them is the Parks and Trails Fund. Greater Minnesota Regional Parks and Trails is a recipient of that fund, along with Minnesota DNR and the Metropolitan Council. So out of that slice of funds of that tax, 20% goes to, in that Parks and Trails Fund, goes to Greater Minnesota, and 40% goes to Metropolitan Council and DNR. And that enables us to work with designated facilities in Greater Minnesota. They have available to them once a facility is designated, and that's a process. It's kind of a high bar to reach, but it allows them to get into a funding pool that's exclusive to those designated facilities. And right now in Greater Minnesota, there are 64 parks and trails that are designated significant.
Now, if you're somebody that's new to the area or whatever area you live in, do you have a website or a place people can go to find out where other parks and trails are located that they might want to check out?
That's a great question. And there is a website that is unique to the 3 funds, Greater Minnesota, Metropolitan Council, Greater Minnesota. If someone wants to find out parks and trails that they may not be aware of all throughout the state, it's min.gov/great outdoors. And you can go there and plug in whatever parameters you're looking for, and that site will find something for you.
Well, it sounds like a great idea and a great thing for folks to do. Renee Mattson, thanks very much for joining us today.
Thanks so much for allowing me to talk about the work of the Greater Minnesota Regional Parks and Trails Commission.